everybody to this exciting panel, and we will be discussing achieving end-to-end automation. What have we achieved today? What successes we have seen? What are the challenges we faced during this journey, and what future opportunities lies ahead? I'm Inderpreet Kaur. I'm a senior analyst with Omdia, and I research into telco, cloud, and network automation. And I'm joined by three expert panelists for this discussion. Afnan Ahmed from Telenor, Beatriz Ortega from Red Hat, and José Maria from Telefonica. I will pass it on to you, panelists, if you can quickly introduce yourselves, please. We can start with Afnan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Inderpreet. Very, very pleased to be here. As you said, my name is Afnan. I'm responsible for network strategy and architecture at Telenor Group. I have a long history with Telenor, 22 plus years. I've been in different roles. And these days, as part of network strategy and architecture, one of the key pillars of our technology strategy or network strategy is autonomous networks. That is, I would say, the next step to automation as such. So yeah, pleased to be here and very happy to be able to share our experiences.
Thank you, Afnan. Beatriz, if you are here with us.
Yes, my name is Beatriz Ortega. I'm working in Red Hat, really in business as business developer for EMEA, yes, specifically in the telco. My background is mainly just telco. At this moment, I'm very focused in the automation and AI value proposition, and we are just working with the TM Forum and with the different customers in order to understand how Red Hat solution can be part of this journey in the different telcos.
Thank you, Beatriz. José?
Hello, good morning. Thank you, Inderpreet. So my name is José Palma. I work for MEO. I'm the head of network strategy, and I focus on technology innovation and also supporting OSCS for network operations. So MEO, it's the Portuguese leading operator in Portugal. We lead all the markets from TV across mobile and fixed service, and we drive transformation and modernization through a lot of projects that we are running right now. So I typically lead strategic initiatives like these, network automation, or I should say network autonomy, also digital transformation, and pushing, promoting innovation, sustainability, and improving customer experience. I'm glad to share here the experience that we have and what is our journey regarding autonomous network. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, José Palma. So, when we talk about automation and autonomous networks, I think we usually refer a lot to TM forums, different levels. And before we could move forward, I will invite Afnan to just give us a brief introduction about what those levels are and how do we distinguish between, what is so specific with level 4.
Yeah. Thanks, Inderpreet. You are absolutely right. TM Forum is, if I'm allowed to say, maybe taking a lead in the industry when it comes to autonomous networks. I actually sit on the leadership team of the autonomous network project at TM Forum, and we had our last meeting yesterday. A lot of big operators, Telefonica and Orange and others are there, as well as all the big network vendors. It's a scale that TM Forum has proposed. It has 6 levels. It goes from 0 to 5. I think the magic starts after level 3, and I'll come back to your question on what is so special about level 4. But that does not mean that anything before level 3 is not good. I think all the telcos, including Telenor, we have been on our journeys of automating tasks and automating processes. I think we have done a fair job at that. I wouldn't say that we have not succeeded, but this static or rule-based or even maybe dynamic automation, that takes us to as far as level 2 or a bit above level 2. I think I saw a survey. 88% of the world telcos are between level 1 and 2. You can do a self-assessment. It's a TM Forum standard assessment, and you can find out where you are for different domains and different scenarios. Which means that there are a few which are outliers. There are a few who are at level 3 or 4, and then I come back to what is so special about level 3. These levels are defined in what we probably know as the closed loop, which starts with an intent. There is an awareness or observability. There is an analysis. There is a decision, and there is an execution. Think of it as a NOC engineer. He sits, he gets an alarm, he decides what to do, who to involve. Together with someone or alone, he comes with a solution and he executes it. This is what the TM Forum has divided these levels into. And when it comes to level 3 and 4, the system is doing most of the work. Especially with level 4, only the intent stage is where a person or a human can have a say. The rest of the process of observability, analysis, execution, decision, that is done by the system, of course, with human oversight. But that is, think of agents. That's also a very famous word. We'll probably touch upon that. Think of software algorithms, or think of software algorithms which are designed to learn and designed to optimize and designed to do the tasks that an engineer would normally do. So then it's not only about automation with if else or whatever. Then it's somebody who can understand the context, somebody who can understand the history, who has the knowledge of like for lack of a better example, from you can think of NOC engineer, you can think of a radio planner anywhere, or radio optimization engineer. What is the processes that he does? Which systems does he look into? What are the KPIs that he follows? So in level 4, only the intent is defined by the human. The rest of the system, the rest of the process is done by the system or the machine or software algorithm. That is where most of the telcos are now aiming, including Telenor, that we want to be level 4 in certain domains within a certain time period. There are also some CSPs who have taken a shout that they've achieved level 4 in certain sub scenarios or sub domains. So that is where we are. Of course, there is a level 5, which is a bit of a science fiction. Then people talk about that the system will be self-going. Even the intent will be decided by the system. So we are a bit. I actually heard Google yesterday. They said that their data center operation is level 4.5. I would like to have a chat with them to understand what they mean by that. But level 4 is where I think the telcos, at least the CSPs with wide networks, are aiming for. And then level 5 is, of course, the end of the journey. So I stopped there. I hope it was useful to understand the difference between the levels.
Thank you, Afnan. That was very helpful. Sets the context for all our listeners. And now maybe, moving forward, of course, there's a lot of priority on level 4, but I would also like to understand where the telcos are today. And as you mentioned, during your explanation, most of the telcos are somewhere between level 1, level 2. So, and from your experience as well as José Palma, where are your networks today in terms of those levels? What are your focusing areas today? What are your priorities today?
Okay. So before I answer to your question, let me add something on Afnan say. And that's very important. I do believe that there are 2 disruption points on TM Forum maturity autonomous network levels. The first, as Afnan said, is between level 2 and level 3, okay, where the human passes the control to a rule-based authentication system. And on level 3 to level 4, where that system is going to be an AI system. So we are going to evolve for rule-based decisions to, if I can say, a deterministic to a probabilistic reasoning. Okay, so that's very important. Why? Because it's a point where people will have a perception of losing control on the network. And we need to say that so network, it's core business for operators, CSPs, and the operations of the network is a critical functions for every communication service provider. So we need to have the trust to those systems. So meaning the rule-based automation and the AI system. Coming back to your question, yes, I agree that the majority of operators are today between 1 and 2. It's also our case, and here I will say that it's specific. It's not an average level to everything, but to specific use case and to specific domains. Okay, I will prefer to talk, and because the assessment it's a three-dimensional assessment, so evolving services, network domains, and flows. I will prefer to say, for example, that now it's on level 2 on operating or provisioning the IP service on IP network. Okay, so it's better to say that than we are on level 3 or level 4. Okay, so I do believe that every operator is today focused on specific use case. I will say that on a single domain, that's another point. And the added value here is reducing the complexity and improving customer experience. So doing service assurance. Is still missing here another point, that is to deliver target customized service to the customers. I do believe that we are not there yet. And the main challenge is really going cross domain. So doing a use case on a cross domain is hard to do because a lot of issues, data siloing, legacy networks, platforms on some domains. So it's hard to do that. And I do believe that the best is really doing this specific use case on a single domain. Example, on the run domain. Okay, there's data availability. It's added value on doing that. We can optimize the run, the run involving to level 3 or level 4 on that specific domain. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Beatriz, what are you seeing with your customers when you discuss this?
Yeah, it's funny because when we are in front of the customer asking the same, we are just painting just the 6 levels, and we are saying where you consider you are. They are more optimistic that Ahmed was saying. They are saying we are between 2 and 3. Okay, so it's good or could be good just to understand what that means for them just to reach one level, okay? Because in some cases, they have one use case. For instance, they have already self-selling, okay? For one specific area in one specific environment, they say, no, we are already just reaching the level 3, okay? So there is not one definition about what that means just to reach level 3, okay? It should be in all the domains, it should be cross, or so the customer feedback is a little bit different, okay? But it's true that in general, yes, the customer are in a momentum just shifting just from a fragmented, an internal pilot just to move to one strategic execution, okay? That is the goal that they are looking for. Just put in production just something that they already just having in a pilot, okay? And it's a very interesting momentum because plenty of concerns and problems just related to data in the most of the cases are coming here. Related to data and as José Palma was saying, just the correlation between different environments. So you can automate, you can have very good automated one life cycle in one environment, but this life cycle is only one piece of the end-to-end process that you have, okay? And you are trying to automate. So automate this one, and just connect both environments and automate the process, okay? Because One thing that is important here, and I think José and Afnan was talking about that, is the business that we have behind here. We are talking here about technology, but the technology should be just behind. The goal is not to reach the level 5 because the technology is able just to provide the level 5. In some cases, we need to understand the use cases that we have in each of these steps. In the most of them, we can see just profitable use cases, but will not be a standard for all the customers. So we need to understand if one customer requires just one modernization, if it's the momentum or if it's not. No, so it's not one standard journey for all of them. And just from my point of view, should be just driven by business. Okay, so each use case should have just the profitability. And that is, I think, is a good point that the customers are understanding, just because sometimes trying to automate domains, they are obtaining the profitability that is required in order to invest in more complex, okay? So at this moment, if you want to just invest in agentics, that is the picture that we can see in the level 4 and the level 5, you need to do transformation. This transformation requires just investment. This investment can be just obtaining just for the basics. Sometimes just automating the travel ticketing or the knock tax, you can obtain a lot of investment that if you can, sorry, a lot of reduction cost, okay, that you can just use later just for new investment. So when we are listening to the customer, in which areas you want it or you are looking for these use cases, in the most of the cases they are looking for high impact domains through a closed loop automation around network operations center. So that means self-healing in the most of the case, try to reduce the human teams that are at this moment solving the problems. The other one is RAN optimization, okay? And the other one is IP transport management. There are the three main points, okay? It's true that strategically, okay, they are trying to work just how they can move the brain to the edge, okay? That is another point that they are looking for. But at this moment, OpEx reduction is the main driver that we can see here, and it's because they are trying to automate as much as possible in order to reduce the human teams, but reduce as well the human errors, okay? So that is more or less the environment that we can see. But of course, again, they are saying that they are reaching just level 3.
I think what I hear is, although even if it is level 3, it is in specific tasks or specific processes within specific domains. It's not that you've achieved something end to end. And I think that is what, if that is what Afnan's, your experience is for Telenor.
Yeah, and that's what I meant, that there are certain scenarios. So I have not come across anyone who says that they've been able to lift a whole domain, even a single domain, to level 4. Nobody claims that. But they could claim RAN is a domain, wireless RAN is a domain. They could claim that their energy efficiency, for example, is level 4 in RAN for 4G and 5G, for example. So then, of course, I'm not saying that it's not good, but it's very specific. And then to lift the whole domain up, I think both Jose and Beatriz mentioned there are challenges with data. There are challenges with our tooling, and then the real fun starts when you look at services or cross-domain scenarios. They become really hard. And actually, I don't get paid from TM Forum, but actually we are now trying to start up 2 new projects. The one is a cross-domain level 4 assurance. So think about, just like Beatriz, you said, assurance is a topic which is close to every operator's heart, hits the OpEx. So some assurance which goes across IP, transport, radio, core, but a level 4 cross-domain. And then something also that we are trying to set up is a level 4 network slicing, intent-based network slicing, which is the other dimension. Of course, it will also be cross-domain, but then it could be for a certain type of users, B2B users or enterprises and so on. So Both these are aimed to help everyone understand how these solutions could be implemented cross domain. And I think there is a reference architecture, an autonomous network reference architecture, which is coming again from TM Forum. But I think the whole industry, I'm not saying they follow it, but they tend to refer to it. And that is also in three levels. There is a resource or a network layer, and each of the domains in the network layer need to be self-sufficient and autonomous, so that then they need to have AI or intelligence. You have the service layer on top of it, which is the cross domain, and then of course you have a business layer on top of the service domain. And all these layers have to have intelligence. All these layers need to have closed loops for like I said, service or intent, or even at the resource layer. So yeah, that is also what we see.
Interesting. And just a reminder to the audience, if there are any questions, please feel free to put them on the Q&A tab. Okay, so let's move ahead. So I think I hear that there are a lot of challenges involved if you're trying to increase or improve the level of automation. Let's dig a little bit deeper onto that. I heard data a couple of times. That's obviously one of the biggest challenges, getting the data right, getting the data ready for AI. That's, I guess, is another thing we talk about. And I'm sure these challenges will be very different if you talk about achieving autonomy within a domain, cross-domain, and on a service level. So if you can walk us through that.
Yeah, at least I will mention two challenges, and of course Jose and Beatriz will add to it. But the first challenge we have already touched, which is the data. And as an industry, I will claim that we have a lot of data, but we are not very good at maintaining it in any correlated form. Like I think Beatrice also tried to explain. We have the data, we use it, we are running our networks, we have high availability, but what happens in RAN may not reflect properly in a correlated way in another domain or another level, because that's not how our data structure is built. There's talk about data mesh, there's talk about knowledge graph, there's talk about these things, for lack of a better word, which are aimed at correlating and creating these data correlations. I don't think the solution is creating a one big data lake where every domain's data and every system's data is there. But the idea is to have a mesh, a federation of data where we can have a correlation on if there is something happening in the KPI of one, what does it mean for the other, and how are they correlated. So that's one. The other, in my opinion, the other challenge which we as an industry face is also sort of self created. It's our tooling, OSS as we call it, EMS, NMS, and so on. We as an industry are still running 2G in most of the networks, 3G in most of the networks. We have 4G, 5G. There's talk of 6G. We have fixed offerings. Jose mentioned TV offerings. Every domain, every vendor, every system comes with its own set of tools. Then we try and create our own homegrown tools. Telenor has homegrown tools. I'm sure all the operators around the world have homegrown tools, which are aimed at solving our issues. But that's how our processes are. I was talking to someone I think it was Deutsche Telekom. They said they stopped counting OSS systems once they crossed 1,000.
Mm.
And that should not surprise us, because a planning guy working in core, or an optimization guy working in RAN, or a customer service guy working, they all have their own tools. A customer service guy can say that the customer is making complaints. If I'm a radio optimization guy, look at my KPIs, my tools, everything is green. I'll tell him I don't think anything is wrong, because I have my own tools and my own data that I believe in. That needs to stop. We need to radically reimagine the whole tool suite. And of course, it's difficult for the ones with some sort of legacy. Jose sits with the legacy, we sit with the legacy, so it's easier said than done. But if we have to go this autonomy journey, we have to reimagine the whole thing. We have come across some examples where greenfield operators have not built OSS systems like we do, because they did not have the legacy. So it's greenfield. So then they think we need one system for assurance, whether it's TV or fixed or mobile or whatever technology. That's the system we will use for assurance. It needs to be cross domain. It needs to be vendor agnostic. This is what we use. This is the work order management and project management tool. Everyone will use it, even our vendors. Period. So then, of course, that helps in automating and making AI available, because you simplify the whole thing. There is no way that we can update, anyone can update and upgrade the tool suite that we have from the legacy. That needs to be sunset in a good way. And so two things in my opinion which are stopping this. It's how we deal with data and our tool suite, at least. So I stop there.
Okay.
Jose.
Let me add here three points that I do believe are three challenges that we need to implement, to control. The first one is regarding to the complexity of the network. We have today a very high complexity network, not just because the legacy systems that we have, but because all the flavors of solutions that we have on the network. We have physical box on the legacy network. We have virtualized box on top of virtualization, and we have now a containerized box on top of a cloud solution. Okay, so it's hard to automate a service across all these platforms, and we really need to simplify before automate. Okay, so complexity regarding all the network ecosystem, and because services are really across several networks and several layers, we need to simplify before automate. One point. Another point, and Beatriz already talked about that, it's the ROI visibility or the business alignment. And here, this is not just a technology transformation program, it's really a business transformation program. Okay, and I do believe we need all to also to get people from the business commercial here to this debate, and to debate what are the commercial advantage of doing an autonomous network. Okay, because operators really need to move to that, to move to layer 4 in order to compete on this digital ecosystem that we have right now. Okay, so that's very important. And we need also to take in consideration the several transformation projects that are running today on operators. In my case here, so we have today a transformation project for IT, evolving our IT platforms, and namely the BSCS layer to cloud solutions to be more digital. We have an efficiency and energy sustainability transformation in order to have more energy sustainable systems on our network, and phase out of legacy technologies like 3G, PSTN, SDH, and so on. We have this autonomous network also program, and for example, the cultural transformation also, in order to evolve to think first on the digital and to promote digital service. Okay, so there's a lot of projects running and competing for both investment, because in the end of the day, telecommunications always requires constant investment to renew our systems, and resources, people resources. So we need to debate this with the business, and to understand what is the business value of doing this transformation. Last point, it's also the skills, but the culture. And we already talked about that. It's that perception of losing control when we evolving to 2 to 3 and the 3 to the 4. Okay, so we need really to create distrust on the AI systems, and we need to do that. Let me tell a story here, what we did, for example, on a use case on run optimization. It's called SON, self-organized network, on the run. Okay, so it's a single domain and a single flow optimization. We start deploy our SON platforming, getting all the KPIs from the run. So can say telemetry, a lot of information, and having AI, advanced analytics to understand the KPIs. Then the platform provides optimization, but first we put it on open loop. So it was a human network operator guys that look to the output of the platform, okay, in order to get confident, in order to validate the new configuration that needs to be applied to the network. After some time, and after we get confident in that, we put the platform on closed loop. Okay? So today we have it working on closed loop, is meaning getting information, applying the metrics, define what's to need to be applied, and configure adapting the network. And with that, we evolve from days to optimize the network to minutes to optimize the network. Okay, so it's this trust that we need to build. Human in the loop, human validate first the output of the systems, and evolve later on to a closed loop solution. Okay, thank you.
Okay, from my point of view, I think all the challenges are very well described, okay? Just the cross-domain orchestration, fragmented data landscapes, and just legacy infrastructure, and the cultural and skill gaps. That was the last one that I wanted to choose, okay? So just only one comment. When we are going, everyone is saying that the industry or telcos are slower in the expectation that we were writing about autonomous network journey, but it's funny because the TM Forum just presented ODA. Everything should be in cloud native, everything will be fantastic, and that will be okay. We are starting from scratch, okay? But we have 40 years from legacy there, okay? And a lot of investment done there. So I think true that we need just to modernize in order to reach that. And this takes time and takes money, the both thing, okay? But it's true that we need to change our mind, okay? First of all, in order to build just not isolated solution, we are looking for that all the technology in the network just works like a perfect engine or as much as perfect, okay? So we need just to consolidate just cross domains orchestration. That is essential. But the one thing that is the human, okay, because you were talking before, but really the humans, the teams that we have in the operation are oriented just to the reactive solution. So they are resisting in order to shift to AI-driven trust and autonomous operations. So that is one thing that we need just. The technology is important and quite good. So the business is behind, sure. The technology is important, but nothing will be just with the technology if the teams, if the culture is not just changing the processes, okay? And that means that we need to change and just be comfortable in order to accept that the one self-healing can be done without human intervention, for instance. I think we are far just to have this one. But everything was done, okay? So, and the data is one of the main concerns that I can see here, okay? Because it's not like a wish, okay? We want just to have. It's because sometimes the APIs or the siloed data is just in one environment that cannot be just open just because the OSS is there or the BSS. If it's required a transformation, that means just 18 months for transforming just that kind of environments, okay? So yes, we are slowly, okay? We are working slow that expected, okay? Slower than expected, but we are on the way, I can say. And it's true that we are automating just repetitive and rule-based tasks. So we are just at this moment just try to cover, not definitely reaching the level 4, perhaps punctual in some use cases, but we are on the way.
A lot of interesting points there. I think, Afnan, you mentioned how the systems were built, your EMS and your network functions, and what data goes through them, how tightly coupled they are. José, you also mentioned about the layers in the network. And if we look at automation, I think if we talk about a RAN use case or an energy efficiency within RAN, I mean, every vendor would say, I have a solution which could optimize energy within my RAN. And I see then, is it, repeating the same cycle, you have these solutions from each of the vendors, and then you're looking at a higher layer of abstraction where you can go across the vendors, even in terms of automation or implementing the automation system. So. Okay, so there is one question from the audience, if you would like to address it. I think it was partly addressed during the conversation. It says, as a basis of automation is visibility into your networks. How do you tackle the issue of multi-vendor service assurance data as an input to end-to-end automation? So I guess that touches upon multi-vendor systems. And how do you make sure the data is visible from all these different systems? Anybody would like to address that?
If I'm allowed, I can add here some comments. So first, we are using today other open digital architecture for TM4, and we are pushing our vendors to support open TM4 API. So the integration needs to be done through open standard APIs. Okay, one point. Another point in regarding the data, typical, as Afnan already said, we are pushing for a data mesh solution and having a data per domains and integrate that data on a higher system, higher level systems through the traditional APIs that everyone is using. So standardization, some standardization is needed, at least at the northbound systems of the NMS for vendors to integrate that on the HOD architecture. And here the APIs are needed for provisioning, for inventory, for alarms monitoring, at least that, okay? So standardization is needed. Vendors need to comply with some level of APIs, and the system needs to take care of that and integrate with the several vendors' box on the network on several domains.
Yeah, I think you are spot on, Jose. And if I can build on what you said, that's of course where we have to go. But if I'm looking at a legacy system and how service assurance, of course, the data structure of different vendors will be different. And even if I have a vendor agnostic service assurance system on top, then I expect that I would need some sort of a, for lack of a better word, mediation or data ingestion layer, which can translate it into a standard data model which my service assurance system understands. There are multiple vendors which claim that they have these translators or mediation models for all the main vendors present. So I think the key is, like Jose said, if you are making investment, make sure that it is following some sort of open standards. It has that it's not a vendor lock-in, it's vendor agnostic. And then for any investments that you do with your traditional vendors, we have to force the same, that they need to open up either southbound interface, northbound interface, or both, and so on. Otherwise, the lock-in makes it hard.
Definitely. So it's true that you are talking about ODA, okay, according to TM Forum, and it's true that we are looking for a multi-vendor ecosystem. That's everyone understands that there is not one vendor able to do everything, okay? But it's true that means that another kind of tax that should be covered by the telcos, okay? So at this moment, in order to manage the life cycle of the different vendors that are just in one process or in one progress. For instance, we are talking about zero task provisioning. Okay, so you have one vendor for CAS for platform as a service, but you have the application there. You need to correlate the different life cycles that you have for different applications. Who has to do that? But then the customer, okay? Before was not necessary because it was one siloed solution. Doesn't matter if it was the hardware or the application or the end of the solution. So now it's the customer who has to take care that the puzzle works according just the outcomes that they are looking for. Honestly, the telcos were not using that, okay, in the past. So now it's a new role and new definitions when they are just managing the RFP, because now you are looking for the freedom that the not blocking solution are having, but you need just to has higher level of control and authentication just in order to validate the ecosystem. And now the owner is the telco, okay? Not only about security, but yes, specifically about data. Who is responsible to manage the data that we have in the network? This amazing data, okay? So the data governance and the solution should be provided just by the customer. The tools are there, okay, of course, and they are very amazing tools, okay? But the rules and how they wanted just to process and normalize, authenticate the data, or just encrypt the data or something like that, is there are new tags that now the customer has to adopt. The telcos has to adopt. That is my point.
Thank you all for taking that question. And moving ahead, I think one point that we wanted to touch now with autonomous, we talk AI is one of the key technologies to enable it. What other things that have to be in place, in addition to AI? I think we mentioned about digital twins initially for these systems, intent-based orchestration, standardizing the APIs. What all are the things we need to keep in mind in addition to AI? Afnan, if you would like to go first, you have a hard stop at 11:30, so.
Yeah. No, I think you covered it well already. Cross-domain orchestration, data, cloud native journeys. There's also a question about cloud native and what are the challenges with cloud native. So, of course, every modernization comes with its own sets of challenges. But I think you covered it well. I would feel that based on what we feel, what we see is a bit of what Jose said. The telcos don't have an unending investment appetite, or the and so we need to answer why autonomous networks. What is in it for the telcos? Why are we doing it? And if the answer is just efficiency, I think we will struggle. So it needs to be a bit more. I don't have a good answer to what more is, but should be on the lines of how can we serve our customers better? How can we increase the customer satisfaction, for example? That's one dimension. How can we increase the revenue from existing services? That could be another dimension. How could we enable or foster new revenue streams, which are through autonomous systems? If we have an answer which is sort of spread across different dimensions, we would probably be at a better position to solve and succeed with this autonomous journey. If not, and if it's just replace some engineers in the NOC or in different functions, I think we will struggle. That's my personal opinion, and that is also what we see across the industry. So yeah, so we need to have a holistic strategy on why we are doing this. What are the problems that we can solve with this? Because the technology is there, it can help us solve a lot of issues. But if you're clear from the beginning, then of course we design the systems to do that. So that is my key message. Have a good enough holistic strategy so that you don't fail halfway.
I think each step has different tools, okay? So when we are talking about rule-based automation, we have to look for just tools for automating tasks, RPAs, or simple scripting, okay? So because we are looking for just automate repetitive or high volume of tasks, okay? Later, if we are looking for just AI operations, we need just to have a clear understanding about tools with machine learning or with predictive analytics in order to use the experience and the data that you already have there in order to use for the predictive analysis, okay? So for thinking and prediction. And the last part, that is where everyone is talking now, is about the Gen AI, okay, the Agentics AI. So it's not one tool. So if I'm using Agentics AI, but I have not just the footprint or the domains already automated, is for nothing. So we need just to automate as much as possible, correlate and connect the domains as we were mentioned before, try to analyze the data that we have, because that that will be very necessary, mandatory. Okay, you want to just to automate the planning, you need your historical data or the data for your customers and for your network. Okay, and later include just that kind of Gen AI or LLMs that we can manage here, and some triggers able to connect the brain that we have here in order to have AI data driving with the muscle that we have already automated. Okay, so and of course the digital twins. Okay, that is necessary in order to close the loop function and doing just I don't know if we want just to talk about specifically about digital twins, but I think it's important because everything will be very agile, very dynamic, and we need just to test in advance in some laboratory, okay, or just one twin that is able just to guarantee that the solution will be valid just for the outcome that we are looking for.
Jose, would you like to add something?
Yes, I do believe that we already talked about the tools, AI tools. So I will just add on the agentic AI, as Beatriz also is saying, and because we are right now working on that, and here a different point could be on the data governance itself, and namely for some agentic AI use cases, we need to run the agent close to the domains or to the data domains. So it's important to have a clear data governance. Okay, it's also important to state also what Afnan said on the. So this is not just for improving customer satisfaction on the service that we have right now and improve operational efficiency, but we need to offer more service. We need to increase the revenues. Okay, so and we need to find a way on using AI to offer tailored services to our customers. That's very important. And once again, apologize for saying that twice, but this is not a technical program. It's a business transformation. Okay, so we need autonomous network. Operators need that in order to compete on the digital ecosystem. So we need to bring more people to the table and debate the use cases and debate how can you use AI to generate new revenue streams. Okay, that's very important. Okay.
Okay, and that brings us to a close on this panel, perhaps with the last question. And we are talking about a lot of new technologies. We are talking about, transforming or changing the way we have been operating so far, bringing in new tools, technologies. So what new risks are these, exposing telcos to, how they should address it? And there's a question from our audience which talks or which slightly touches on this. And the question is, with adoption of DevOps, CI/CD, SecOps, workflows, etc., what new problem challenges are cloud native environments and automations creating in terms of observation, testing, and remediation? How do we need to address this? What is wanted more?
So that is a very good question, okay? So, and really, we are not at this moment sure about all the problems and risks that we will have according we are implementing the different steps. But it's true that I can see at least four main concerns, okay? One is the cybersecurity exposure, okay? So the autonomous attack propagation. So that is one thing that we can see just more or less in the notice just this month, okay? So we can just receive one attack and just say, now if everything is connected, the impact will be not only in one domain, can be just across all the domains. We need to think about that, okay? The other one is the operational, I will say first, yes, the model governance and compliance, okay? When we have one not explicable just decision making, okay, like a black box, what is the problem, okay? So if if the AI is managing the solution and something is broken or something is not working according to that, okay, how you can know where is the traceability of the problem, okay? That is another topic that is not very clear, because we are trying to look for like one machine, order one thing and the outcome will be there. But if something is not according what we are thinking, just you need just to be internally there, okay? And the other one that for me is one of the risks more evident is the data poisoning. Okay, so the capabilities that now the hackers has in order to inject data that are not, and the data is the oil that we are using just for the AI. So if you are introducing bad data, you will have unexplicable just outcomes later. So we need to recognize, perhaps we can talk about cybersecurity here, but specifically just the capacity to create data, fake data, and introduce fake data there that you can use as a real data, healthy data, and that will be just, the rest of the chain will be just under control. That is another. Of course, we can try to, we will see just some conflict with operational and predictable, okay, solutions, okay, as multiple independency between the AI agents that run simultaneously, sometimes with different goals, okay? So if you are just covering, you have one agentics just looking for that one router or something is down, but you have the sustainability agentics just with different other goals at the same time, you need just to manage that. And it can be a complex environment. But okay, step by step. So we are at this moment in this momentum. But the data and just be secure just against cyber attacks, I think is the most essential topics from my point.
Let me add two additional risks too, and they are complementary to what Beatriz said. The first risk is loss of visibility. So it's on the same topic that I previously said on this perception of losing control of the network. And because we need to build trust on the AI systems, and if you have a system that is completely control the network, there could be some loss of visibility on that. So we need to make a kind of human in the loop governance, at least for critical decisions. Imagine that the system decides to change the full network behavior. We need to put humans on controlling that, okay? At least in one first step, one first level, in order to get trust from that system, okay? So we see the risk is loss of visibility. The second risk, it is complementary to what Beatriz said on the data part. It's an incorrect AI decision. So we need to take care on that. Data validation, it's very important, and we need to build the AI solution to have an AI explainability. So the AI system needs to provide a kind of traceability on what it's doing and how it's acting, okay? So two risks that I do believe that are important. Besides the cybersecurity, of course, we are providing more control, automated control. We need to take care on all security controls and continuous monitoring that, okay?
Thank you, Jose. Afnan, if you want to add anything to that, or we are on time.
Well, we'll let you have a few minutes more because you started late. If anybody's desperate to speak, by all means. Thank you very much. I thought that was terrific, actually. And we'll see you, I hope, again soon.